Christian Bradley, back for the Game Institute, and you caught me right when I was setting up my file. So, sorry for the boring intro here, but I need to get the right file set up here. We're going to be talking about feet for our character today. What is this? This is 845. Okay. Don't get the name right. It's going to be lost forever. And that's no good. Hope everybody had a good weekend. I did. I've been getting ready for another series that we're doing, and it has been quite the last couple weeks. It's been bordering on 60 hours a week for the last 2 weeks, which I'm not used to, and just a lot of things due. Game Institute's got a lot of stuff due, so they needed their time, and some of the other projects I'm working on to try and make ends meet here needed their stuff all done too. So everybody's stuff was due. So it's been a long 2 weeks, and it's not going to let up for another couple weeks. So, but let's talk about some critter feet for our creature here. So here is our model, and yeah, that's our model, all right. But let me. Okay, so let's talk about our critter's feet here. This is our model, and we've done some different parts on this. I'm kind of skipping around at this point, but it doesn't really matter which order you do this in. And we're going to create his feet. Now in this mocked up file here, I've already created the boxes. I've put the x-ray on it, and I've centered the pivot point and put mirror on it. So he's kind of got these little cardboard boxes on his feet. And if we go to his side view and we turn on the side plane here, there we go. You can see we're after this foot here. This foot back here we're going to ignore. But that's the foot that we're working on. So I'm going to go ahead and put my transparency on that. So I'll just create a new material for it. We'll match all the materials up here in a little bit. And we'll go down here to our transparency. And we're going to knock the alpha down quite a bit on that so that we can see it. We've done that before. Nothing new there. All right, and what I'm going to start doing with this is go into edit mode and start grabbing some vertices. And are we in select through mode here? I believe we are. Yeah, okay. And we're going to start moving these vertices around. Oh, also the top polygon's been deleted on this so that it'll just behave a lot better that way. And I'm just using B, the box command right now. So there's going to be a lot of chopping into this, like so. And we don't have our select through mode on. There we go. Okay. You can see I still have proportional editing on. I'm going to take that off for this step just so I can get a hold of these pieces better. There we go. And we can chop another piece in here. Now we don't want to select any or make any more pieces than we need to. So same rules we were using with the hands. And this first part mocked up here, kind of messy, just so you can see what my plan is here, and then I'll cut away as I work on this because it's going to take a little while to get everything lined up. Okay, so you can see there, this is going to be his ankle. It's going to look a lot better here once I get going. And then we're going to form right down to where his toes split off of the foot. So same thing we did with palm of the hand. And I'm just going to extrude this piece out. And remember, 1 and 3 on your keyboard are front and side views. Hit 5 if you're in perspective view. We want to be in orthographic view for this. And the period key is going to zoom in on your selection. So I'm going to extrude this out. And kind of narrow it down. Remember, we just want to go to where those toes split off of the foot. So we'll just kind of deal with the foot first. And you can see that's giving us close to the shape, a very boxy shape, so we'll have to round that out. So what I'm going to do is cut away here, and I'm going to go ahead and round that out. All right. And for the live stuff, well, we're still here. See, sometimes that smooth command kind of doesn't really smooth. See how it does that? I'm not sure what triggers that. It has something to do with the points that it's connected to aren't. It thinks it's got to make it concave instead of convex or vice versa. Never really mastered that. There we put another chop here in the back. This is going to be his Achilles tendon basically here. So we want that to come pretty much straight down. I'm going to give him a little bit more of a heat than what the concept has. These kind of lizard feet always look very rubbery to me. They don't look like they would hold up a big creature like this. So I always make them a little bit more humanoid. Sounds like I make a lot of lizard people. I don't really. I have made a couple in my day, more than you might think. But, well, that's a different story. Oops. And here we're just going to narrow these toes down a little bit. And his toenails are going to split off of this piece. We'll do that in a second. It looks like he could probably use a piece right around here, I think. Looks like he has little booties now, little hoofs. Okay, so we've rounded these pieces out now and started to form the feet so they're not so blocky. And I'll kind of rotate that around so you can see what I've done there. Those are just edge loops that have been added, and then I've moved the vertices around to accommodate it. Don't get too many edge loops up here. Remember, his feet don't have that many edge loops, and we want his ankles here to weld into the bottom of his leg. But we are going to need a lot more polygons when we get down to the toes. This is the same problem we had with the hands. So we need to carve out a place for his toes to come out, and then we need to start accommodating that extra polygonal detail that we're going to need to make his toes work. So the first thing I'm going to do is change my user preferences so I can select my edge loops. We'll grab these edge loops here like that. I'm going to slide this one over. Now he's going to have 3 toes here, so you can see now we've got 1, 2, 3. We've got some spots there for his toes to come out, and then he's going to have kind of a small little thumb, or I guess you'd call it a small toe. And it's going to come out of the inside over here like a secondary toe. So we'll deal with that. And I may put a little kind of hook or something on the back end. I don't really like that rounded lizard foot look there. Okay, so once we have this, and let's go ahead and build in this other toe I just mentioned here. It's going to split off, I think, right there. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is just hit extrude. I'm going to extrude that out a little bit, move it forward, scale it down with S so that we have the polygonal spot there. We'll rotate that a little bit. Lock that on the Z, I think. There we go. Kind of get it flattened out there. There we go. So that's going to be that interior toe piece. All right. Now, what we want to do is we just want to add enough polygons to round these out. And I like to extrude them first, just like this. So I'm going to extrude each one separate, or you can extrude them just so you know that there's polygons in between them, so that in between your toes are taken care of. Don't want them to have robot toes. So something like that. That'll probably work pretty well. I'm going to go down here. I'm going to bump up my polygons there just so you can see them a little bit. Transparency. There we go. I want his feet kinda flat. They don't have to be perfect, especially at this point in the game. Okay. Now you can see those individual toes, and I am going to move them out a little ways just so we've got some room here. And I'm going to use proportional editing for that, just so his toes kind of splay out a wee bit. And we'll grab this one here and kind of puff up that edge, and same with this guy over here. Okay, now once we have the general shape, all we're going to do is delete these polygons front. Oops, not that one. That one. Okay, because we don't need to be chopping those up too much. And we'll hit Control R. And we'll start to put in some edge loops here. And I'm just going to pull those up enough to define where those toes are going to be. You can see how that's going to work. Something like that. Okay. Looks pretty good. Now we don't really have to be dead on with our modeling, of course, at this point. Same as with the hands. Remember the foot anatomy that we've talked about. You're going to have a ridge right in here that's going to pull that foot way up. I'm going to kind of shove that over. And there's going to be a ridge over on this side that's going to slope downward quite a ways. You can see something like that. And then the inside of his foot, right around this edge right here, is going to be lifted up a bit for that arch that we would expect. I'm going to pull his heel back a little ways too. Okay, I'm going to form this out just a little bit more. Be right back. Yeah. Kind of move that down. Looks like I can afford another edge right about here, I think, because we've got this arch we're kind of forming. Now we're not going to get his toes done today. They take a little bit longer. Yeah, it looks like we're going to have to turn that off. Alright, you can start to see where those toes are going to branch out from. It looks like we're going to need to add one more loop in here. Okay. Okay, and we've kind of formed those feet out a little bit better. And I'm going to keep kind of out of here with my procedural tools, procedural modeling tools. kind of get the shapes that I'm after. But for the most part, we just want to get a good foot shape to build on. Not a lot of polygons. That's the trick if you're going to do it this route. Now we'll hook that up to the body in a little bit. One last thing I'm going to do is move the toes out. The toes get kind of tricky because I'm just going to select that loop there by hitting Alt and clicking on it. I'm going to turn off procedural editing for this. I'm just going to stretch the toes out because what I can do now is I can kind of splay them outwards like this. Looks like it would hurt. It's a new torture deal for lizard people. Just to bend their and then we can work on the toes kind of separately and then move them inward towards each other. And don't worry if you've got to add loops like right in here. You can see I may want to move some of these loops around just so that I can get a more round contour to that toe there. Yeah, I think so. So that particular one I think needs a little bit of help. You know, and just think kind of how your feet are built. His feet are going to be pretty similar. We can do a lot in so they don't have to be perfect. In fact, they do not need to be perfect at all. And don't worry if they're not perfectly round. When we subdivide, it's going to take care of it. But you don't need to get in there and get too tight with these. And I'm going to turn procedural editing back on here just for some quick touch-ups. I mean, he is a lizard person, so he's probably going to have some pretty gnarly feet. I would guess. Whoop, not that gnarly. I would guess. There we go. If we go back here, we'll turn off our, we'll change our alpha, make it a little bit better. Go into edit mode, we'll put smoothing on that guy so we can see him. And you can start to see now his feet taking place. They look a little bit like that image. Looks like he has little socks on. He has those little cutout socks so his toes don't get scrunched in his socks. So next we're going to finish up with the toes and the claws, and we still got to seam these into the body. But all in all, pretty good little effort. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and save this. Then I'm going to work on these a little bit more. We've got a little bit of time, but let me wrap this. Save that. I'm going to hop over to the classroom and see if anybody's got any questions over there. Remember, if you're watching on YouTube, can't leave feedback. But if you're in the Game Institute channel, you can leave feedback. I don't really have a good way of seeing who's watching either, so if you want me to know you're watching, you'll have to tell me you're out there. Really like the procedural editing tools in Blender. Just as a great way to kind of add character, you know, just kind of scooting pieces around. It really works well. So I don't want him to have kind of like a big club foot. I really want him to kind of have a little bit more, kind of like a springy design to it. Kind of see there, that's what I'm after. That back. A little bit more pop to his step. And then like a big, clunky creature of some sort. Okay, that's pretty good. I'm going to rotate this whole front end here. Lock that on the z-axis. And you can see we need to expand this way out. So he's a little bit more pigeon-toed. Actually, probably would be the other way, wouldn't it? I think it'd be more the other way. Yeah, I think more like that. Yeah, that looks a little bit more natural. And then once we get that toe piece in there, I'm going to go ahead and delete these polygons in here. We're not going to need them. And move that up, out. Okay. I think that's probably a good place to stop for today. I like that stance. That's working for him. Looks like it'll keep him upright. Let's go ahead and save this. Okay. So that's going to do it for today. That was a short one. That was only a half hour. Thought that was going longer. I thought we were closer to full on that one. But I will be here tomorrow, and we'll continue to work on this guy. I don't know what's scheduled for tomorrow. I don't know if it's more of this guy or not. See you then. Bye. Bye.